In today's video, I'm going to show you how I make a reversible table runner. One side for Thanksgiving and the other side for Christmas. If that interests you, then stick around. Hi, I'm Nancy. Welcome to my channel, Running with Scissors. In today's video, as I said, I'm going to make a table runner, and I'm going to show you how I do it. I decided I wanted to make something simple. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have one long piece with turkeys on it for one side. And the other side, I'm going to have some poinsettias. And then what you do is you decide how long you want it, how wide you want it. And I wanted mine to be as long as my table with both the leaves in it. So I'm going to cut it about 90 inches long, and I'm going to cut it about 18 inches wide, both these pieces. And then of course the batting I will need to cut as well to sandwich in between them. And then I thought it'd be pretty if when I'm going to quilt them, and use the red thread for the top, and I'll just put white thread in the bobbin so that the white will show up on this side. I thought the red would just be too much for that side. And then I thought it'd be pretty to use some of this hunter green, just purchased bias binding for the binding. And that's it. And I think it'd be really pretty. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and cut my pieces to the correct sizes that I want. And then I'll come back after I'm done. Okay, I'm back. I've got my two pieces cut out at the proper length and width. And I cut out my batting. Now, my batting was not quite long enough. So what I did was, you very carefully sew the two pieces together. And if you look at this, you can barely tell. Look at this. Can you tell that I've sewn the two pieces together? What you do is you sit down the machine, you put on a zigzag stitch. I did about 5 millimeters, and you butt them up to each other, but make sure not one overlaps the other. You butt them up and you get a nice smooth finish so that it won't be bumpy at all when you sew it into your two pieces. So it came up pretty nice. Just butt it up and zigzag it. Okay. I've got my clips. And I've got my safety pins. So first, we'll do one piece. Now this is rather long, so you want the piece on the bottom, right side on the bottom, like so. Okay. Get your batting. Now I was watching Melanie Ham. She's the wonderful YouTuber that passed away almost 2 years ago. And when she did this, she would get tape and she would tape all this down. But mine goes so far down, off the table. I didn't think I would try that this time. So this can get a little tricky because it is long. So what I'm going to do is just lay my bunting on top of this piece, and then I'm going to put my other piece, the Christmas piece, on top of that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around and I'm going to clip it with my clips. So I don't bore you with doing all of that. Let me go ahead and get that done, and I'll come back and show you how I'm going to baste it in place. Okay, I'm back. What I did was I very carefully smoothed there's the bottom layer, there's the top layer, and I just smoothed, and I did my little clips, and I clipped it, and as I went, and there's some hanging off the end, and I just, as I put it on, I smoothed, and I smoothed to make sure there were no bumps or wrinkles or anything on the bottom or on the batting, and did that. Okay, now for the basting, you use these safety pins. And they do make some that are curved. Now these have a little bit of curve in them. So I'm not sure whether I bought these for this or not. I do want to say, if you are a quilter and you're saying, she's doing this all wrong, what knowledge I have, I got on YouTube. And so this is very rudimentary information. So what I did, I've already put a few in. You just put these in, and I'm doing like maybe 10 inches apart. I'm not putting them real close together. You just take the pin, and you put it through all the layers. Basically what this does, it just holds everything together, because if you tried to quilt it, things would move around. This is just keeping things together. So I put one here, here. I just put them 3 across and maybe 10 inches this way. It's just so that everything will hold together when I get to the part where I'm going to be quilting. And then, while I'm thinking of it, I need to decide what kind of quilting do I want to do. I'm thinking I want to do it diagonal instead of up and down, this way and, but diagonal. And I'm thinking maybe 3 inches. Yeah, about maybe 3 inches apart, diagonal, and then come back and go diagonal the other way. That's what I'm thinking at this point of doing. And I think that would look really nice on diagonal. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, but I think the diagonal would be the prettiest. And so you just take your pins and you just put them in place until you get to the end. It's a lot hanging off on the end, and I go down so far, and you do this until you get to the very end of your piece, and this will hold everything in place when it comes time to the actual quilting. I'll put in a couple of more. I'm sure you don't want to watch me do all this, the whole thing. It's going to be pretty. I really like this fabric, the poinsettias. That's really pretty. So you go all the way down to the end with your pins. As I said, you can buy the kind that have like a little curve in it, and that's what you use, and that's what it's called, basting. So you go all the way down to everything's held in place, and then once I get all that done, I'll come back and we'll talk about how I plan on doing the quilting part of it. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, to mark my quilting lines, I'm going to use a water dissolvable, erasable pen, and then I'm going to measure over 3 inches, and I start over in the corner, and I'm just going to go diagonally, and so I just take my ruler, and I take this ruler, and I got to set it 3 inches, and I've already made a few lines already diagonal, and then I just put this on, and 3 inches, put this at 3 inches, go up here, make sure they're both at 3 inches. And then I mark it with my pen, my water dissolvable pen. I'm sure there's maybe better ways to do this, but I have to see where I'm going. If I don't have it marked, I'll be free. What do they do? Free sewing or something? Well, I don't want to do any free sewing. I just want to make a nice straight line, an even straight line. So I'm just marking. I'm going to have to mark all the way down, all 90 inches of it, and I will mark. Okay, and once they are marked, I'll sew. I did sew one just to give it a just to give it a try. I've got the red ink, the red thread on the top and the white thread in the bobbin, because I thought that the red thread on this side would stand out too much. So that's the bobbin thread white and red on this side. And then I'm just going to mark all the way down. And then when it's time to sew, I use a walking foot on my sewing machine. I'll show you that later when it comes time to sew. I'll show you some of my sewing. I won't show you all of it, but I'll show you some of my sewing of the marks. And then once I get all the way down, then I'll have to come back and I'm going to have to go the other direction because I want to make diamonds. So that's what I'm doing right now, is marking all the way down, and then we'll sew. And I'll be back when I'm done marking. Okay, I've completed drawing all of my lines. You probably can't see them, yeah, but I can. That's the most important thing. But I've drawn my diagonal lines using my T-square and my ruler and my water erasable or dissolvable, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they call this thing. Anyway, I've got the lines all drawn. And what I'm going to do, we're going to go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to go ahead and stitch the lines that I drew. So let's go over to the sewing machine. As you can see, I have my walking foot on. I don't think it's actually entirely necessary because the batting here is kind of thin, but since I have it, might as well use it. So let me just go ahead and do one of the lines and let me show you how that walking foot works. It's kind of fun, I think. Here we go. Just going down that line that I drew, that you probably can't see, but okay, I'm back. I finished sewing. You might not be able to see the lines very well. There's the back. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to take my two rulers and my marker. And right now I have the stitches going this way. I'm going to mark the stitches going that way. So I'll mark all the way down and then I'll sew all the way down just like I did before. And then I will come back and we will be talking about that binding. So I'll be back in a little bit after I do my markings, do the stitching, and then I'll be back for the binding. Okay, I'm back from quilting. Here's one side, and here's the other. I do want to say one thing about quilting. I've never really made a full-size quilt before. And I know just do the quilting, and when you get so far in, you have to, roll it up to get the squeeze under the, the throat of your sewing machine. My sister made 2 quilts, one queen size and one king size on a regular sewing machine. I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she was able to squeeze all that in there, but they came out beautiful. I think if I ever was going to make quilts, I would probably get another machine, at least had a longer, throat area. Even then, without one of those big long arms, I think it'd be kind of hard to do, but I did it and it's ready to be, the binding to be put on it. But before I do that, I do want to make sure the edges are even, because if you look, you can see where things have kind of stuck out. If I try and bind it, I might miss some of the fabric. So what I'll do is I'm just going to use this ruler here. I'm going to line this up about right here. And I'm going to get this ruler here. And I'm going to line up the bottom, on the bottom line, like so, and pull it over. I can see that the fabric on the bottom is sticking out. It was this part that seemed to be a little shorter. And I'm going to try and make it even, best I can. And then I'm going to use my rotary cutter and hold on tight, because these things can slip. And also make sure your finger's out of the way. I have cut myself twice because I had my hand, you know, right in the line of fire. So be careful. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this off. Try and press as hard as I can. It came out pretty good. There's just a couple spots here and there that didn't quite get through. You can use your scissors with this, or you can just kind of, there we go. And that kind of made that even. And what I'll do is I'm going to want to do the other end too, and then I'm going to be looking at the edges here, and I'm going to do a little bit of trimming there. So what I'll do is get my edges trimmed up so they're nice and even, and then I will come back and show you how I plan on putting on the binding. Hey, I wanted to explain a little bit how I even up the edges. I did this edge already, and I've already evened up this edge, but to go to this next edge, I just take this and I line it up right even with this, because I know that's even, and I pull it down, and I kind of look over here and see how much I need to take off, because, you know, sometimes in the sewing of it, you know, it might have been cut real straight. So I just want to make sure that when I put the binding on, everything catches, that I don't have it so uneven that it doesn't catch. And I am using a wide binding. I'll show you that when we get to that part. But that's what I'm doing. I'm just lining it up with this edge here and figuring out how much I need to cut off. And then I'll use my long ruler and my rotary cutter to even up the edges. And you want to make sure your corners are even as well too, because we're going to miter the corners with the bias binding. So let me finish getting this last side done, and I'll be back. Okay, I bought some ready-made bias tape. I wanted it wide. In fact, this is 7/8 inches wide bias tape, because I wanted kind of a wide. So what I'm going to do, so how you open it up, open up the raw edge. And I'm going to start on the middle, because I'm eventually going to have to, you know, add two pieces together to put them together. So what you do, you can either pin or you can clip. Just do raw edge, like so. And when you get to the corner, I know there's, this is the way most people do it. As far as the bias tape, there's more than one way to do a bias tape, but I decided I wanted to do it this way because I wanted to use, you know, purchased. So what you do is you need to find the diagonal. See, there's the diagonal. So I put my pin right there at the corner, right in the diagonal to mark my diagonal. And then what you're going to do for the corner, you're going to take your tape. Oh, and I want to mention, this is open. This right here is not. You leave that, the bottom one, folded. Then you're going to pull this up. And there's that pin that I've got there. And I'm going to pull it up. That pin's going to be marking my diagonal. And then you're going to bring this back down and make sure it's even with the edges. That's even. If you want to clip that for a second, and then you want to have that even with the edges, like so. Then what you're going to do, I'll take that off for a minute. See what you got? See how you got a little flap here? Flap, flap. You're going to fold the flap back this way, and then you're going to sew down that line. You're going to sew all the way till you get to that pin and stop, and then back stitch. Okay? Then you're going to fold the flap back over that way, and you'll take your pin out because you don't want to go over the pin. And then you're going to start right at the very edge, you know, back stitch, and then you're going to sew all the way down this edge. What that's going to do is make you a nice mitered corner. And you do that on all four corners. So that's how you do it. I'll go ahead and sew the corner and kind of show you what it looks like. And then I will go ahead and just go all the way around. You just go all the way around. And once I get that done, then I'll come back and show you how to turn it and see what we're going to do that way. All right, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, why don't we just go ahead and give this a go. Let's do the corner anyway. I'm going to leave a little bit open because I'll be having to attach another piece. So right on the edge, and so right on that fold line. Here we go. Remember, I've already put that pin there, you know, remember? And so we're going to have to, when we get there, we're going to have to fold where that pin is, fold it that way, like so. And then we're going to sew right up to that pin. Right up to the pin, but not on the pin. So when we'll make it to the pin, we're going to back stitch a couple stitches, and then we're going to cut the thread. Then we're going to fold that back over, remember? So we're going to fold that back over. So we fold it, see we sewed it to here. We're going to fold it back over, like so. Edges together. And then we're going to sew right on that line, and we're going to back stitch. And then off we go. I'm just going to sew down a little bit so that we can kind of pull the corner and just kind of see how it came out, and we can always hope for the best, right? Here we go. Go down a little bit more. Then I'm just going to back stitch it a little bit so that I don't lose that thread and cut it. And let's just see. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm just taking this. So when we go all the way around, then when we get to that, see, we got look on the ooh, nice miter corner. Need to kind of pull that, you know, kind of. I'll probably want to do a little bit of trimming, but this just kind of gives you an idea, because when we go back around, we'll be putting this around on either side, and then there'll be a miter corner bed. We'll fix that up when we come around. We'll fix that up. Right now we got a miter corner here, and then we'll fix the back when we come back around and can fix the back. So okay, and there's my miter corner. Hopefully the other three will look better than this one, but that's kind of where I am, and I'll come back after I go all the way around, and we'll see what's next, okay? Okay, I'm back. I've got the vice binding sewn all the way around, and that's what it's going to look like on this side. And then I just need to fold it over and do the corners, and I'll show that to you a little close-up view of that, okay? Okay, as you see, I've got it sewn on this side. And to get it on this side, what you do, you fold it down. See, there's and I kind of stick my finger in there, fold it down, go all the way across, all the way across. And then you take that and you fold it over like that. And there you have it mitered on this side and mitered on that side. And you just go all the way around. So I'm going to go back to the machine, and I'm going to go ahead and sew it. I'm going to try stitching in the ditch. I think it will catch it. At least that's what I'm hoping. I'll probably try a little bit and to see if it's catching it, because that's what I'm hoping, to stitch it from the other side. And we'll see how that happens. So I'm going to go to the machine. As I said, I'll just do this and that. That gives me another miter corner on this side and on that side. And I'll be back after I have it all stitched around. Okay, I'm back. It's finally finished. Now, the stitch in the ditch didn't really work out. I did a little bit of it and it wasn't catching on the other side. So I just flipped it over and sewed it from this side, and it worked out fine. So this is it from this side. And then I'll flip it. And that's it from this side. Now, if you just stick with me just another second or two, I'm going to throw this in the wash because I want to wash off all those markings I made, you know, with that water erasable pen. I'm going to wash it, dry it, press it, and then I'm going to give you a reveal of it on my dining table with a little bit of decorations, Thanksgiving and Christmas. So stick in there for just a few more seconds and I will give you a reveal of it on my table. Okay, and here's the finished product. This is the Thanksgiving side, and I bought this at Hobby Lobby when they were having their 50% off. I think it looks really nice there. So that's the Thanksgiving side. Now, let's flip it and see what Christmas looks like. Flip it over. Okay. I went through a lot of my stuff to figure out what I wanted. I thought I'd try this picture that I painted back in December of 20. And these candles I've had for a long time. And there you go. And that's for Christmas. I think it came out really nice. You might want to message me if you, or in the comments, let me know if you've made a runner for your table for Christmas or Thanksgiving. So that's what I have for you today. I appreciate you sticking with me this long. I'd love it if you would subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Take care. God bless.